Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Talking About the Bible. In the last video, we talked about how God brought Israel up out of captivity in Babylon and through the Persian Empire. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the time when in the Persian Empire there was about to be kind of like a Holocaust. I wouldn't say the Jews were going to be killed that were in Persia, the Persian Empire. Mind you, Persian Empire spanned many different countries, so if this happened, it would have been really bad. But we're going to talk about how God saved Israel from being destroyed through that. This is after a few kings after King Cyrus, or I might have the right name wrong, but this is later on in time. So in Persia, in the Persian Empire, in the capital, the king of Persia, the new king Xerxes, right? So he wants to have a feast. He wants to have, he wants to show off how glorious the Persian Empire is, right? And so he has a set of feasts, and people of all kinds come over, and they eat at his palace, right? And in the festivities, the king of Persia wanted to have the queen come to an event, and what she did, the queen Vashti, she said, "No, I don't want to go." So when the king of Persia told her to come, she said no, and at that point he was like, "She's done." So now he removed the queen, and he decides, all right, well, we need a new queen, and this is going to be important because there's going to be a set of events that happen that turn the government of Persia against the Jews, and this is through various a corrupt individual in the government, and you're going to learn, when you have that corrupt person that's in a position of power, they can do damage. They can have people killed and stuff. And we're gonna get to that. But basically, Queen Vashti was removed, and the kingdom, the government decided. The king's staff, they were looking across the Persian Empire for pretty young virgins, and so one of the people that was selected, one of the women was named Esther, right? And she was the daughter of two people that had been, they had passed away, and I think her uncle or somebody basically raised her in Persia. And that man's named Mordecai, and he actually was he was an official in the government of Persia. So Mordecai had he had stumbled upon a plot to kill a coup against King Xerxes of Persia, and he revealed that to his staff, and they investigated it, and they found that two individuals were plotting to assassinate King Xerxes, and so they wrote it down in their records. He didn't receive any honors for it. They kind of forgot about it, but Mordecai and Esther are Jewish, and they helped. Well, Mordecai helped save the king of Persia. So that's going to come back here in a little bit, but I've just given you that detail. But basically, Esther was the most beautiful of the women to Xerxes, and when they brought the woman out to him, he picked Esther as the next queen of Persia. And the people he puts in somebody new he puts into power, one of the nobles he puts into the government, in his staff is named Haman, right? And this guy, he's full of himself. He just wants a bunch of honor and glory. And so, the king, makes an edict, okay, well, you have to bow down to Haman every time you see him in the court. And Mordecai is Jewish, and he doesn't want to bow down to a man. I mean, why would you want to bow down to a man? You know what I'm saying? And to respect that Haman, the way they wanted him to do it. So, when Haman would go out in the court and Mordecai would not bow down to him, he got angry. He got like Hitler angry. Just messing it. But he got angry. And he noticed that Mordecai said that he was Jewish, right? And so he took that and said, wow, this guy doesn't want to bow down to me. I don't like the Jews anymore. That's basically his mentality. And so he went to the king, and he used his position of power, and he actually he fooled the king of Persia into thinking that the Jews were some kind of rebellious people within Persia, within the Persian Empire, like they were rebellious. And Persia and Israel had a history, as we talked about in the last video. But he basically fooled him into thinking, these people are bad, they're dangerous, they're a threat to our country, our empire. And so King Xerxes trusted Haman's judgment. He trusted that, okay, well, this is a guy who's a noble, this is a guy who's been around. He trusted him, and he signed an edict basically commanding that all Jews in the kingdom of within the empire of Persia would be killed. And so Haman did that because a Jew wouldn't bow down to him. And, this is going to come back to bite him, because it just so happens that Mordecai and Esther, what a perfect time, were Jewish. And they knew what was going to happen to their people. And so when Mordecai hears about the edict and when it's announced, he's emotional. I mean, he's sad and he's concerned. And, Esther's like, what's going on? And he tells him, and she doesn't know what to do, because there's actually a rule in the kingdom that nobody can come to King Xerxes. They have to be summoned. Anybody that comes over, if he doesn't raise his golden staff or say that they should come inside, then they're put to death. And so she didn't know what to do. And Mordecai told him, well, wait, your people are at risk. I mean, if you don't do something, it will destroy the Jews. So she goes and says, all right, I'm going to take the risk, because she actually put herself on the line by saying, all right, I'm going to go before the king of Persia, even though that I could be killed. I'm going to do it because I don't want my people to be killed. I don't want the Jews to be killed. And so she goes in before the king, and he raises out his staff to her, and she's allowed to make her request to the king. And she tells him, why don't you come to a banquet that I've prepared for you, and bring Haman, because we'll get into it. But the next day they attend, right? And it's just normal. She doesn't really say anything. The king asks what she really wants, and she just asks, okay, we'll come to a banquet again tomorrow. Just come to one more. And so they leave, they're happy, and Haman goes out in the court and he sees Mordecai, and he doesn't bow down once again, even though this edict was signed, and he's angry and he's furious. And so when he gets home to his estate, he's like, I'm putting up a guillotine right here. I'm going to hang Mordecai. I'm going to have this guy hanged on my property when this edict is enforced. I'm going to grab him, I'm going to hang him on my... So that's how radical this guy was, and furious and angry. And so, he's boasting about how great he is to his family, and I'm awesome, and that comes back, because the next day, well, actually, during that night, the King Xerxes of Persia was looking in the chronicles, like we were talking about, the records, and they saw how, well, Mordecai helped stop an insurrection within the Persian government, right? And so, like, well, what honor was given to him? And his chamberlains told him, no, there was no honor given to this man. So, King of Persia calls up Haman, and he tells him, what should we do for the man that the king would like to honor? And he's like, ooh, what? Well, he's so full of himself. He's like, well, what person would he like to honor other than me? Huh? Yeah? So he goes and he says the guy that the king wants to honor needs to put the king's apparel on, have the king's apparel put on him, the crown put on him, and then he gets put on a horse and there's a parade and people are just saying, this is what happens for the person that the king delights to honor. And so they do it. And here's what the King Xerxes said. He says, now go do this, what you said for Mordecai. Right? And so he's just been trolled. Okay? Because he's thinking, I'm getting all this honor. I'm going to be paraded. Woo. People are going to cheer my name. And then King Xerxes tells him, no, it's Mordecai the one that needs to be. So this is the beginning of the end for him. He goes home. His wife tells him, well, if he's a Jew, which they know, but if they find out he's a Jew and your edict to kill Jews and they figured out all this stuff is a lie that you told them, you are screwed. That's basically what she said. And so he's trying to go damage control. He goes to the feast the next day and, and then the bomb drops. Because Xerxes asks, and Esther says, my people, the Jews, because she never realized she was Jewish, but she tells them, my people, the Jews, are set to be killed. They're set to be destroyed, and, that's basically what she says. And then Xerxes is like, who's the one that set this up? And she tells him, it's Haman. And then he remembers, Haman did come to him and tell him that the Jews were a threat to Persia, that they were dangerous to the country, and he signed an edict to kill all the Jews because he trusted his judgment. Now he realized, Mordecai's Jewish, Esther's Jewish, and they're doing all this good stuff, and you're telling me the Jews are a danger to our country? So that set his fate right there. He goes out in the garden, he's trying to figure out what to do, he's thinking about it, and Haman goes over to Esther and is like begging on his knees. But when the Xerxes comes in the room, it looks like Haman's trying to have sexual intercourse with Esther. And he's like, oh, you want to make sport of my wife now? And they cover his face up, like this, put a little cloth on, and then somebody said, well, there's a guillotine out there for Haman and his property, and it was meant for Mordecai. And the king hears this and like, go ahead and hang him on that. So he got trolled all the way. And basically an edict was signed at the end of it that the Jews should be given the ability to defend themselves and all their enemies could be killed. And, obviously it's not like this huge exile or genocide of Jews. So the Jews are saved, and this that doesn't happen. So that just goes to show you, if Esther wasn't the queen, and if Mordecai weren't even in that position, and Haman was there, the Jews would have been killed, and all the Jews in the Persian Empire, and it would have just been a massacre of Jews. So that shows you, God put these people in at that right time when this was about to happen, when somebody furious like that was going to, destroy God's people. And he put somebody in there at the right time to save them from utter destruction, from mankind, from those that don't, that are furious and don't don't really have faith in God. And so that just goes to show you, that's an important thing. When you put leaders in power, when you put people in power, you need to make sure that they are God-fearing men, because there are those that come in, like, for example, let's talk about Nazi Germany, right? Imagine had Adolf Hitler not become the Chancellor of Germany. Imagine had somebody, the right person, come into that position. I don't think the Jews would have been, 6 million Jews would have been killed. A lot of would have been prevented. But that just goes to show you, it could have been a slaughter of Jews in Persia. It may have very well just been the same thing that the Nazis did. And you have to know that when you have people that don't love God, that love destruction, that are furious, that's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do. And that's what Hitler did. He was angry and furious at the Jews. Nobody knows why. Does anyone even know why at the end of the day? I don't even know, but he was furious, and he wanted the Jews killed, and he wanted them gone, and he wanted them gassed in chambers and rounded up and shot down. And because there was nobody to stop him in Nazi Germany, because, that's what happened. Unfortunately, that's what happened at the end of the day, and that's why unchecked power is not the right thing. And why having people that aren't God-fearing men isn't the right thing, because I don't know where he got that from. I don't know. You can't tell me that. And a lot of people say, well, Hitler was a Christian. I don't think so. I think he was just there to do his destruction, to do his deed, to be honest. Because if he was really a Christian, I don't think he would have done. There's some things that Christians do that are bad, like adultery, but that has nothing in comparison to do with killing millions of people and doing it under the radar in a way that nobody knows about it. But it was horrific, the things that were done. It's horrific. And that is, no, that's not, he's not. He's a liar is what he is. And so we need to be careful these days, no matter what country it is, you always want to put God-fearing people in positions of power, because if you don't know what they're going to do. They don't have any moral compass. All they care about is money, power, wealth. And I don't even know what Hitler, he was just angry at everybody. I mean, at the end of the day, had he won in Europe, had he taken over, we'd be living in a different society today. And it would not be good. And I'm sure that if Adolf Hitler succeeded, it would have turned into just like a communist with atheism and all that. I'm sure it would have turned out like that, because unchecked power like that does not stop until it spirals out of control. But as you can see, when you have good people, God-fearing people in positions, even in authoritarian countries and authoritarian regimes, it gives people a moral compass, and they are able to block horrible atrocities like that. So in every country in the world, you cannot have a whole government with atheists and people that don't care and don't fear God, because it's going to be bad. Okay? You look at China, there's a genocide. 3 million Muslims in China have been killed or gone missing. Nobody knows where it's going on, and we're still sending trillions of dollars to them. That's the worst part about it. And so, these issues that have been going on before are going on now, and I'm just saying the danger of what happens if you have a full 100% atheist government, and they aren't God-fearing men, and they don't, what if they feel, Jews are a threat to our country? They're going to eliminate Jews. Or Christians are a threat. They're going to eliminate Christians. And that's what they're doing in these countries, these atheist countries like China. And nobody does anything about it. And they can't do anything about it in their country because everybody's atheist in that country for the most part. There's very few people that are Christians, unfortunately. And that's why there's unchecked power and they could do whatever. They could destroy anybody. There could be genocide. So we really need to, I know I'm changing the script, but I'm just saying history repeats itself time and time again. And so in every country around the world, we need to put people that are God-fearing men, not people that are politicians and well, there's nothing wrong with a politician, a good politician, but I'm saying people that don't actually believe in God should not be in any position of power, especially, heads of state, because all it takes is one guy and it breaks out. So as we saw with Haman, though, he got destroyed. Adolf Hitler, he got trolled, okay, because when the communists were fed up in Soviet Union, because he tried to invade the Soviet Union, that failed, they went ahead and went in on Berlin, and they took that guy down like it was nothing. Horrible. And he killed himself. He was in his bunker, and he was angry, and he killed himself eventually. But, he got trolled. He thought he was going to be like frickin' one world order, Mr. Tough Guy, and he got trolled. And that's what happens to people that don't, love God, and people are not God-fearing men when they do horrible atrocities like that. So that's what happened to Haman, that's what happened to Hitler, and anyone else that tries to do that, that's what's going to happen to them. So I'm just saying, let's spare ourselves the destruction of people, let's spare ourselves the wars, and put God-fearing people in their positions of power, because when we do that, we stop all kinds of stuff. But anyway, I want to thank you for watching this video. Make sure you read the Bible. It's very important these days, because something that is happening around the world is that the world is becoming more atheist. The more people don't believe in God anymore, not even in the United States of America. And the more that happens, the more countries around the world will start to recede, the more that communists will start to succeed, the more the atheists could succeed, because the blessings from the nations that are turning away that used to be God-fearing, it's being trickled down over to the atheists. They're taking it up. So we need to have a refounding of all our countries. I'm not saying, this whole one idea that a one world order is going to solve everything it's not applicable. It's not real, because when you have one person running everything, there's horrible things that happen. Mankind is like the most irresponsible people. God creates everything and gives mankind everything, and we just go around and do stupid stuff with it, stupid stuff. Wars, genocides, stupid stuff, inexcusably stupid. And the only thing that stops that is fear in God, fear of God, because when you don't have fear of God, you don't have any morals. You just go about doing whatever you want. You think, I can kill 6 million people and get away with it. And that's not true. That's not how it ended with Hitler. And there's a place called hell, and I don't want to say anything, but there's a place waiting for people like that kill people like that, genocides and all that. But we need to, there's a difference between war and then just senseless killing. There's a difference between, you got to invade a country to stop them from doing something bad, and then just killing people for no reason. There's a difference between the two, and one's bad and one's good. And but I'm just saying, you got to read. You just read from start to finish. I'm just giving summaries in these videos, but I'm just saying, the world is becoming more atheist. The world is becoming less, they don't have fear in God as much. We don't have fear in God as much as we used to. Even in this country, the United States of America, which is founded by its roots to be a God-fearing country, and we're changing away from that. It's like a generational. I mean, it happens every few generations as a shift, but it's really bad if we can't recover from this. This country will not be the same way it is, and the world will not be the same way it is, because wherever the United States goes, the rest of the world will follow. So I'm just saying, read the Bible, tell your children to, tell your friends to, and just have faith in God. I mean, I'm just making summary videos, but just read. You'll understand a lot more if you read, and it helps. I mean, it helps people, okay? It helps people do the right thing, the moral thing, and also, you know, as we were talking about hell, there's something called a heaven. You know, those who believe in God and in Jesus Christ, His Son, will be resurrected and given eternal life. And I'm just saying, you know, you'll understand more of that if you read the Bible. Well, we haven't gotten to all that yet. We're going from the beginning of the Bible to the end, but you'll begin to understand these things if you just read the Bible, and it'll make you a lot better person, make you a lot happier in life. And I just want to tell you, you know, God bless you, and make sure you read. I mean, don't let your temptations keep you away. If you do bad things, you know, you just read, and I mean, we can't just continue this atheism and this thought that there's no morals or anything like that. We can't continue that. We're already making the same mistakes that in past times history. I mean, that's the problem. People aren't learning history anymore. People aren't, you know, we're making the same mistakes again. And it will be bad. It will be worse if we continue to make the same mistakes. So just read and believe, and thank you for watching this video, and goodbye.